All right, AJT fam, welcome back. We're going to get started with this trader mindset. The second part, finding your trading self. Very, very important that we are able to identify who we are as a trader and actually grow from that. I mean, there's no way around it. Okay, if we don't figure out who we are as a trader, we'll be chasing our tail the rest of our trading careers, and we don't want to do that. Okay, so it's really, really important that we're able to find out who we are as a trader and kind of go from there. Just kind of recapping last week. You know, we have to again. It's very, very important that we have to find out who we are, so that we know that we're the center of our trading world, and we're gonna know where to place the capital, where to place the education, where to place the tools, our trading strategy, our risk management strategy, our money management strategy. Is that where all of these fit, but they have to be compatible with us. Okay, if my risk management style is not compatible to who you are as a trader, then you can't use it. It doesn't work for you. All right, so you've got to know who you are, and in a lot of cases, if you are unwilling to change who you are and to work on the things that are preventing you from being successful, then you will probably want to stop trying to be a trader, because all it's going to do is cost you money as you go forward. And it's not a bad thing, it's not an ugly thing, but you want to stop before you get too deep, and it buries you. So that's what we're trying to look at here. So knowing that you're the center, we know that we have to work on ourselves. Okay, and once we get everything in place, we're the nucleus. Everything revolves around the nucleus. If you think about an atom, the center of the atom creates the gravity that keeps everything intact. And when you start splitting atoms, and you start bringing things together, it has to be in a particular order, because if you split the atom the wrong way, you're going to get an atomic bomb. And we don't want our trading to get blown up like that. So we're the center, we're the nucleus, we're the core. Everything revolves around us, but it's our mindset that keeps everything together. So it's the psychology part of trading. So what most prospective and struggling traders, what they tend to think is that psychology is not what really matters. Okay, they think that what matters is being rational, informed, educated, and experienced, which is good. You want to have a rational mind, but it needs to be rational as a trader. You want to be informed, you want to be educated, you want to be experienced. Okay, these things do matter, but again, what brings all this together in a cohesive unit is your mindset. Is the psychology part of this. So, what can we do to get our minds and subconscious working together in harmony? So it begins understanding who you are as a trader, because most of us are going to have to change. I had to change. So I know most of us will have to change. There's no ifs and buts about it. We have to assess our skill level. We have to assess our skill level. All right, there's no if and buts about it. We've got to assess that. We've got to assess our capitalization, because that's going to determine where we can and can't trade. Right? We have to assess how much time we have to give to this. You know, if we don't have the time, then we're in trouble. You know, we're in trouble. There's no way of making it if we don't have the time to put into it to learn and to gain experience. Because all of this is what's going to help our mindset, you know, as we go forward. So you want to ask yourself these questions to kind of help you determine, you know, where you fit in this. You know, are you an introvert or extrovert? You know, do you like working on your own? Are you disciplined or grew up in a disciplined environment? Are you a confident person? Are you naturally a confident person? And the big question, why do you trade? What's the purpose? So think about these questions for a minute. And you want to ask these questions of yourself this weekend. Because this is what's going to help you get to that next level. In thinking and trying to determine what you need to do in order to be the person that you need to be in order to be successful in trading. So just because you have a proven winning strategy, that doesn't translate into you becoming a consistently successful day trader. Now, there's a lot of people out there now trying to sell AI and all these automated systems. Guess what? They have the same results potential as you doing it yourself. And you still have to have the mindset, the mental game, in order to execute it. All right, so just because you have that doesn't mean you're going to be successful. You have to believe and trust that your strategy will follow the expected outcome, the unexpected outcome. Okay, but if you come in and you think that this strategy is going to follow the expected outcome, you're in trouble. Okay, you've got to expect the unexpected. You will need the mental skills in order to execute your trades according to the strategy that you're trading. That's going to be key. You've got to stay focused on the process of the strategy versus what might happen. Okay, you got to stay focused versus worrying about what might happen. Okay, we don't care what may or may not happen. If we execute our strategy the way we're supposed to, then none of that really matters. So you must know exactly what to do and when to do it without hesitation or fear. So it all boils down to execution. Can you execute? Whether it's an automated trading system, a manual trading system, can you execute? Can you come in every day and execute consistently? Okay, a true professional day trader, they know their success doesn't come in a box. Too often, traders look for answers in technology and it's not there. Case in point, the AI stuff. Back when I first started trading, there was a company called Stock Horizon. They've changed their name. I don't even know if they're still in business, but it was called Stock Horizon. And it was a stock picking software. What it was supposed to do is use its algorithms to pick stocks that are in play, give you entry points and exit points. So, which meant when it hit the entry point, you were supposed to enter, and then you weren't supposed to take it off until it hit the exit point. Okay, that was the what you were supposed to do. And if you didn't have the mindset, it didn't matter if somebody told you get in here and get out there. If you couldn't do the in between, it just wasn't going to work. So the answer was in understanding and controlling your own emotions and taking responsibility for your own actions. Professional traders know that losing is a part of the cost of doing business. How a trader psychologically handles loss, I say many times determines success or failure. It directly determines success or failure. How well you handle loss, and I'll take it a step further. How well you handle winning will determine your success or failure as well. So your success in trading is a mastery of yourself. It's a mastery of oneself. And if you can't master yourself, your trading self, you're going to have a hard time making money in this industry. So what I realized while working with the hundreds of traders that I've worked with over the years is that all of you had one thing in common. And I had the same thing in common with you when I was going through all of this. All right? We never made it out of survival mode. I lived in survival mode until I realized I was just surviving. And again, let me tell you how I figured that out. I went to a conference, a teacher's conference, and it was in the summer. And they were talking about the difference between teachers who are just surviving in the class to the holidays and to draw a paycheck, and those teachers who were thriving and actually making a difference. And that got me thinking that what I'm being taught in trading is how to survive, not how to thrive. And I know they say, well, the first part of trading is learning how to survive in the beginning. The problem is that survival mode starts to feel so comfortable, and it makes sense based on what you were taught growing up. All of that made sense. So you tend to live there because it's comfortable. It's nice, warm, and cozy. But you can't do that. You've got to get out of survival mode. And that's the mode most of us live our lives in, survival mode. We never take chances. We never take risks. But it's usually established early on to help us deal with the negative feelings. Once we get in school and we start, we may not be as good as a lot of kids. We may start failing. And those negative feelings will start to hurt. The teachers are punitive to those of us who aren't doing well. And then we get disappointed, we quit trying. Or we try to find shortcuts and everything. So we get stuck in that mode to survive. I was stuck in survival mode when I was in high school. I had dyslexia. I had dyscalculia. I had to figure out. I knew I couldn't do what regular students did and make it. I couldn't. And I had to come up with ways that I could survive and just get through. I'm like, look, if I don't have to study and I have a way of just making things come out where I could get C's, that's all I need to do. And that's all I was doing. But when I got to college, I had a teacher that said, that's not gonna fly in here. And the rest is history. She got me help and I moved on. It's the same thing with trading. If you sit here and you start and all you're doing is trying to survive, it's not gonna end well. So, and here's what I did. I started developing bad habits to deal with those negative feelings that made it hard for me to even try to do better. I realized early on, the harder I studied, the worse I did. The more confused I made myself. So I developed these bad habits to help me survive, just to get through. But that's not going to cut it in trading. You're not going to realize the success that you want, by not challenging yourself. So we end up lying to ourselves. We create a fantasy world for ourselves. We start cheating ourselves out of opportunities. We quit when things don't come easy. It may not be your fault that you are who you are right now. Okay, it may not be your fault. It may be your parents groomed you a certain way. My parents groomed me to not take chances, to not take risks. I had to change that. I had to work my way out of that mindset. And it wasn't my fault, but it was the way I grew up. It was hurting me in my trading career, and I had to fix it. So we're all dealt circumstances that we do not have power over. The direction of our trades. We have no power over what direction our trades go. We don't. It just go. We get in it. We expect it to do one thing, and it doesn't. All right. So, even though we do not have any power or control over the direction of our trades, once we enter, we are accountable. Okay, to them. We are accountable to the direction. Our response to the results of our trades cannot be from a survival or an instinctive mindset. Meaning, we can't just take it off because we don't want to lose money. If that's the case, then every time a trade ticks against us, we're going to be taking it off. And that makes absolutely no sense. All right, yes, we have to be accountable to the fact that we don't lose more than we should. But we can't be in a survival mindset to where we're just going to cut it so we don't lose anything. So what we have to do is replace survival with resilience. Okay? What's the difference? Survival is instinctive. It's built in us. We're going to do whatever we need to do to survive. Okay? Our reactions become subconscious. 95% of our actions are subconscious. As we grow, we develop responses to things. It just becomes subconscious and we don't even think about it. Okay, so all of these things we're fighting against in order to help us become the trader that we want to be. Okay, we tend to replicate our behaviors over and over again. And all too often, this replication means repeating the wrong or even disastrous courses of action. That we just keep doing the same things over and over and over again. All right, resilience. It takes work. It takes work to be resilient. It's about building that emotional and mental fortitude. It's being strong enough to choose our response over the instinct to react. So let's say we lose on a trade. Our instinct is to try to make that money back. Right? We want revenge. We want to get that money back. That's our instinct. We need to find that money. But we can't respond over instinct. We have to choose our response. We have to assess the situation and determine, is it smarter to just walk away and let this go because this really didn't do what we wanted it to do? Or do we sit and wait for it to come back and give us the move we want? You know, we have to do it. We can't let anxieties or negativity overwhelm us. And we have to keep thinking positive. We have to be able to choose wisely and keep going. Even when we're exhausted and we have the pace, and, you know, we've got to have, even when we're exhausted and we don't have the patience to know that results will come. We've got to keep going. We got to fight through this. If we don't fight through it, it's not going to work for us. So resilience isn't survival. Yes, you do need it to navigate crisis. The survival instinct will help you with that. It's about rebuilding when you're exhausted and then being able to bounce, not just bounce back, but bounce higher and thrive. And that's a quote by Audrey Tang. It's really relevant to what we're doing here. So why is this concept so elusive and hard to understand? Okay, we are a prisoner in our own brains. 100%. Again, this survival mindset is instilled in us from childhood. It's not really taught in schools, but it's a direct reflection of what happens in school. We're protecting ourselves mentally from the bully. We're protecting ourselves mentally from making mistakes and not being the best student. You know, whatever the case is, maybe you have funny looking clothes. For some reason my parents thought it was funny to dress me like a clown every day, but you know, you develop these the survival mindset so that you could continue to function in that environment. So it's difficult, very difficult to break the habits you've had throughout your lifetime. Very difficult. So this is exactly what we're going to do here. This is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to break those lifetime habits that we develop that's going to prevent us from being the trader that we need to be. And it's difficult. Some of us have more issues than others. Okay, it's just the way it is. Some of us have more issues than others. Some of us is going to take longer to deal with this than others. Not a bad thing, guys. Not a bad thing. Alright, so why is becoming resilient important in trading? Why do you think that? Resilient people are flexible. They adapt to new circumstances quickly, and they thrive in an environment of constant change. So what are we doing in trading? Are we in a constantly changing environment? Absolutely. Do we need to adapt quickly? Absolutely. Do we need to remain flexible? Absolutely. So all of these things, are key. Resilient people are flexible, adapt to circumstances quickly, and thrive in constant change. Most importantly, they expect to bounce back, and they have the confidence that they will, regardless of what's happened to them in their situation. It doesn't matter. They expect to bounce back, and they have the confidence that they're going to do it. They have a knack for creating good luck out of circumstances that many others see as bad luck. Alright, sounds like something that would be positive for us in trading. Does it? Absolutely. So how can we start today? From right now today, how can we start developing that mindset? Number one, get comfortable working with a coach, mentor, or close friend. Let me tell you, I've got probably 265 members on record. And this is from, people from 10 years ago. All right, I'm not talking about just in the last year or two. I'm going back 10 years now. About 265 people. How many people do you think I talk to a week? Only a handful. A lot of people that come in here quit before we even get to talk, because they think that this is something that they don't need to talk to anybody about, or they don't need to work with anybody, or they may feel but it's crazy, guys. It is absolutely insane crazy that doesn't happen. But you've got to get comfortable working with a coach, a mentor, a friend, somebody that's going to help you navigate this stuff. Okay? 100%. So don't close your eyes to it. Okay, don't close your eyes to it. And and if I don't tell you what you want to hear, don't get mad at me. I'm telling you what you need to hear. All right? So you got to get comfortable with that. Stay present in the moment while in trades, as well as when you're actively looking for trades. Stay present in the moment. Stay positive. Don't look at unprofitable trades or trading errors negatively. Okay, it's not a negative thing. It's gonna happen. You're gonna make trading errors. You're gonna make mistakes. Okay, it happens, guys. There's nothing we can do about it. We have to accept it, learn from it, and move on. Okay, and this is a really nice quote, and I use this when I was teaching in the classroom too for my students. But our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time. And this was really prevalent in what I taught, because students had to complete projects. They had to use critical thinking skills. They had to do a lot. And most of the time, these things weren't going to work the first time. You know, even building, I'm going to tell you the most fun project we used to do was build rat trap cars. These were cars that you had to build that was powered by just the spring of a rat trap. It was the most fun project, especially for me, because it let me see what the creativity of my students are. And I remember the first time I had done this for a couple of years, and you know, I've had some students that try to go, and I tell them up front, don't go to Hobby Lobby or somewhere like that and buy the kit, because I know what the kit looks like. I want your own creativity. And you know, some would go buy the kit and they would fail, but there were some that were so creative. And this one guy, he took ball bearings out of his out of some fishing rods. He took ball bearings out of some fishing rods, and he used that to eliminate some of the friction so that his would roll faster. And he realized that the rat trap has a soft, quick throw. So if you do that and you don't compensate for that, it will just spin the wheels real fast, and it will just spin around and it won't go anywhere. So you had to make it slow so that it can accelerate, and then the least friction you have, it would go far. And it was just incredible. But when you would first build these things, it may not work the first time. You had to go through and figure this stuff out. And the kids that gave up and went and bought kits, they quit. They didn't succeed. The ones that quit trying didn't succeed. And that pretty much told me what kind of students I was working with, and what I needed to do to help them. So that I brought into my teaching here in trading. All right. So, any questions? Any questions? I know this is the second time going through this for most of you guys. You probably have taken time and, worked your way through it and all of that. You're welcome. But what I want you guys to do is really look at yourself in the mirror. And you know what your weaknesses are when it comes to trading. You know what you can and can't do, what you've been trying to do and can't work through it. Those are the things that we've got to work on. Okay? Those are the things that we have to work on. And we've got to get you out of that survival mode. All right, so before you all go, I've got a test for you that I created. Got a test for you that I created. All right. Look at this trade here. Right here. Why is that a bad trade? Why is that a bad trade? Let me see. All right, we got one answer. We got one answer. It's after 11 a.m. And you guys got both. You guys got both. This is why that's a bad trade. It's after 11 a.m. and it's exceeded the ATR. What did we say the ATR was? 13.30. At this point, we're already down over 13 bucks. That doesn't mean this can't work now. That doesn't mean it can't work. It means this is a bad trade, and it's probably not going to give us what we want. So that's great. This is part of before, looking at taking a trade, analyzing what are the things that I need to know before I get in there. What are the things I need to know? We're exceeding ATR. So without a catalyst, it's less likely to sell off. Also, it's after 11 o'clock. It's less likely to get the movement. A lot of retail traders are gone. All right, so great job.